Hey everyone, welcome back to another Bridge the Gap podcast episode. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Scott.
And I'm in a world of hurt today. Not as bad as I was yesterday. I'm literally wearing, my mom got me a hoodie that says, "This is my hangover hoodie," and I'm wearing it because I'm still feeling it. Okay. For anyone who doesn't know, this past Saturday, I celebrated my 21st birthday to the fullest extent that you could celebrate a 21st birthday. Don't ask me what happened because I can't answer it.
You can't answer any of it? You have no memories? Like, you're not going to be able to talk to your kid about, man, I did this many shots and like I did for you?
So I have memories, but not enough.
Nice.
Okay, I think I made the mistake of not eating enough beforehand. Because I'm usually really good at like being able to handle my alcohol. But yeah, so had a really great 21st birthday.
Nice. It's awesome.
But it was a great time. It was a great time. Great group. I'm so blessed to have trusted my gut and left where I was, because it would have been a completely different birthday, and I'm so very blessed to have been able to spend it the way that I did. And have such a great time. Like it was great.
Good.
My best friend told me, she was like, "You don't remember some of it, but like you were smiling the whole time." And I was like, "Well, good. That's what matters."
Yeah, you had fun.
Yes.
And you were safe.
Very safe.
With good people.
Yes.
Well, good. Well, as you get through your week and learn more stories about what happened, then, you can file them away and tell your kids when they turn 21. Let me tell you about my 21st birthday.
You know what's another thing I didn't think about, and I think it's what eventually kicked me in the ass? The Jell-O shots.
Yeah, but that was just vodka. It's not like it was hard.
I know, but I took like 7 to 8 of them.
That'll do it.
And it's so funny because it's one of those things where, like, because you don't immediately feel it, you have to wait for them to dissolve in your stomach. And then once they dissolve, you
have a good time.
And I think that's what eventually did me in, because I was like, oh, they're just Jell-O shots. Like, they're not that bad.
Did you do shots at the bars?
Yes.
Like what kind? Do you know?
Lemon drops.
Okay.
Because lemon drops are my favorite. And I didn't want to mix too much.
So at least you stayed pretty constant. You didn't mix.
Yeah. No, I did.
Yeah. You're on the mend. You brought in.
I'm on the mend.
You brought your 21st birthday in like you're supposed to.
Yes.
I mean, some people may disagree that you're not supposed to do this, but I think it's
What's
good
the
learning.
point?
It's good learning.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because like you guys are coming up in 2 days, which I'm super excited about to see everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to go to dinner, and Mom's going to want me to get a drink, and I'll be like, I don't know if I can.
You can't be a quitter.
No, I will. But something I did want to talk to you about, because recently we've been very politically based stuff going on in the world, very right, left viewpoints. Today, I just kind of wanted to go back to the main reason that we did this was to talk about the differences between generations and how generations may view things a little differently. And I saw a post from a dad about probably your age, and he was like, my 13-year-old daughter got diagnosed with depression, and when we talked about it in the car on the way home from the doctor's office, she denied it, and then she just broke down and told me everything. And he was like, I need like guidance. Like, how do I handle this? And so a lot of the comments it was mixed bag, right? So there are a lot of comments from people from my generation giving like genuine tips on like figure out how she handles it, how she has been going through it, figure out what works to help her, like that kind of stuff. And then the other comments, which made me kind of sad, but this is why I think it's a good reason to talk about it, was people from like your generation that were like, tell her to suck it up.
Sorry.
And like, I know,
shouldn't laugh.
and I get it. No, I get it. Like, cause that's how a lot of you guys are raised. But it's like, you know, this dad, excuse me, this dad is trying to not fall to what he was raised in of like the just suck it up, and
Yeah.
is trying to like do better and help. So I feel like we should talk a little bit about how mental health and going about depression and stuff like that was different when you were around my age, or how your parents handled it, versus how my generation views it and how we handle it.
Right.
Because
Okay.
we've had depression in our household as well.
Well, my side of the family has a history of depression. So yeah, I mean, listen, well, when you post these clips on TikTok, I'm going to get blasted. So just, you can even put this one on there. My dad already knows he's going to get blasted, but that's just because the younger generation's so quick to be all end all, you know? And we talked about that, labels. Everybody has to have a label. Everybody has to find a reason why. And sometimes there isn't, right? Like, just sometimes it's just life. And so when I started laughing, because they're like, you know, when you first started talking about it, in the back of my head, I was like, rub some dirt on it. Like,
Yeah.
right? But there's a lot to play here, right? So the girl's 13, so she's in middle school.
Roughest time of your life.
Middle school's a disaster. It's a
Yeah.
disaster for everybody. In every generation, my parents' generation, your grandparents, their generation, before them.
Well, before them, weren't they still working in like factories?
Well,
like,
you got to figure, like, my grandfather was born in 1907. So when he was 13, it was 1920.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they'd gone through First World War.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they were probably depressed, right? Like, their dads are going away to Europe and getting killed. Their brothers, older siblings, cousins, right? I guarantee if they diagnosed depression back then, every single American that was 13 in 1920 after World War I would be diagnosed as depressed. Guarantee it. So that's why I laughed at it a little bit, because I was depressed at 13 too. If I look back on it, you know, I mean, listen, I make fun of myself all the time, and, you know, they'll tell you that you should never self-deprecate, and you got to feed your brain with positivity, and your brain believes 90% of what it tells itself, and blah, blah, blah. And that's all this new age stuff. No one talked like that when I was your age, ever. No one.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, 13. Okay, I'm 5'9", pushing 5'10". With shoes on, I'm 5'10". I'm 5'9". I grew up with a lot more freckles than you see on my face now. I grew up with red hair, and I was legally blind. I still am legally blind in my right eye. If I do not wear a contact, it's like 2400. When I wear a contact, it's like 2080. I think I got it down to like 2065 or something. I don't know. I was 4'11" in 8th grade. So yeah, I wasn't too pleased with things, right? Like, my friends were 6 foot. I'm not even 5 foot, right? I wrestled 98 pounds in 8th grade, if that gives you any indication on my size. So short.
I think I broke 100 pounds in like 4th grade.
Exactly. So short, red hair, freckles, can't see well on this side of my body. Girls didn't want to date me. I matured late. So yeah, I went home. I was sad, right? Like, yeah, that's middle school though. Everybody has that part of their life. And if anybody can look at themselves in the mirror if they hear this and go, I was fine in 8th grade. You're full of shit. You're full of shit. So that's why I laugh a little bit, and I have to take it a little bit in context. I'm not saying depression's not real. It runs in my family. I have family members that take medication for it. My dad, before he passed, had anxiety medicine. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but 13, maybe there's a rub the dirt moment. there
Yeah.
still because, in my opinion, because, and listen, I'm saying this, I have no idea. You brought it up. I don't know what her home life is like. I don't know if her parents got divorced. I don't know if her brother, sister committed. I mean, there's so many layers to the cake.
Yeah.
But overall, the responses that you said that came from people of my generation are not surprising. You're middle school. And we told you and your brother before you went into middle school. When you guys promoted from elementary school, we said, congratulations, great job. The next 3 years are some of the hardest years of your childhood. They are.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Your mom and I both communicated that to you and your brother because they're hard, And listen,
yeah,
I grew up in a totally different time. And this is why, like you said, we do it. I mean, we used to take PE class. And for those of you that are in anywhere out, east of the Rockies, like we are, gym class, right? We used to have to not only work out, right? Like we had to do stuff like run for time for grades and stuff. Like there was no, hey, you're a girl, so you have to run a mile in 8 minutes and the boys have to run it in 5. It was, no, the boys have to run it in 5 and girls have to run it in like 5:30, right? Like it wasn't this drastic difference, but we had to like perform in gym class.
Yeah.
We had to change in the locker room in front of everybody else.
Well, we did that too.
Here's the difference. You only did it 1 year, right? 6th grade?
No, middle school, it was all 3.
All 3? Okay.
All 3. Once high school, there was only 1 year requirement. So
Okay.
I did it freshman year.
So I think
that was still brutal freshman year because, being 15, you're just as self-conscious as you were when you were 13.
Of course.
Now even more because I developed earlier than all of my friends. I got my menstrual cycle in 6th grade, but I was starting to wear deodorant and training bras when I was 10. And mom did a really good job of not making me feel like I was abnormal, even though she knew I was kind of ahead of everybody else. She did a really good job of not making me feel that way. But then, so I was kind of getting comfortable in my body, and then middle school is just middle school. But I was still relatively comfortable in my body. Because also you guys did a good job with that of being like, yeah, your thighs might be a little bit bigger. Yeah, you might be wearing a size 6 jean instead of a 0 or 2, like 98% of girls in middle school do.
Right.
And you guys are like, but look at us. This is how we're made. And you play softball. You're an athlete. So you guys did a really good job of making sure that I didn't ever feel like super like out of the ordinary.
Right.
But then you get to high school and everyone else is starting to develop. But then they're developing and their waists are still tiny. And I was like, wait a minute. This wasn't part of the deal. I thought, I thought once you guys were going to catch up to where I was, then we'd all look the same. Like it just like, that was the only real like mind thing that I had really as a freshman. Cause like my friend, she developed like overnight almost, but she was still a size 0 in pants. And I was like, whoa, right. whoa.
Yeah.
This isn't fair. It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But with depression,
well, let me just add on to the middle school stuff, right? So the challenge and what could lead to some people feeling like they're depressed, but maybe it's just life, So in middle school, after we worked out, we were required to get in the shower without a towel on in front of everyone, students.
Required to take a shower is crazy.
We were required. And it was exactly like the 80s movies that you think. It's a pole with 6 nozzles on it, and you had to get wet. Had to. And our PE teachers, so there were these walls with walkways into the shower area, and then there was a drying area with like grip tape so you don't slip and eat while you dry. Your towels had to be in there, and the PE coaches or teachers or whatever you want to call them would walk the drying area back and forth carrying yardsticks. And if you got out of the wall, they'd swing the yardstick at you. That's legitimate, true story. San Diego, California in the 80s.
What the hell?
So, just another example. And so when you're in 6th grade and you have PE class with 8th graders, there's significant development that happens between 6th and 8th grade. And you're like, whoa, And then if you're a late bloomer, which I was, even in 8th grade, you're like, oh, it's demoralizing, right?
That's insane. Not only the forcing y'all to shower butt booty naked, but also that y'all mixed grades. That's something we never did.
Yeah.
So there was a 6th grade hallway, 7th, 8th grade. You guys never mixed.
No.
Never.
Yeah, we mixed everything.
Yeah, you never mixed. Even in your related arts, it was every group had 6th grade, 8th graders. It was the first 2 periods were related arts. 7th grade, it was you would go to a related arts lunch, related arts, and then 6th grade, it was your last 2 of the day. Mm-hmm. So that's insane to me that you guys would mix like that. And low-key, I think that might have helped our generation not be as insecure, maybe. Because if I were in 6th grade and I had to look at an 8th grade woman, I'd be like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I'd be what are we doing right now?
The only classes that were mixed were the core classes. And by core, not even all core, because there were some, there's some dumb 7th graders had to take 6th grade math again or whatever.
Well,
right?
That would have been me. Careful.
I know. But it was just English, history, and science usually weren't mixed, right? Because in 6th grade, we took physical science. 7th grade, we took biology. In 8th grade, we took something else. I can't remember.
That's insane because that was my 9th and 10th grade.
Well, in 9th grade, we had to take physical science again. 10th grade, we took biology. And then from there, you took chemistry, oceanography, physics, zoology. There was other ones that you took as you got older in high school. But yeah, those 3 classes were the only ones that really weren't mixed. Even math class was mixed, especially if you were above average. So PE class was mixed. Electives. I took a drafting class as a freshman in high school with seniors. I was 15 with a bunch of 18-year-olds. And I took drafting because my dad's like, it's good. It was the worst class. I sucked at it.
What is drafting?
It's drafting is what architects do.
Again, no, I'm okay.
You got to use math and angles and all sorts of stuff.
Nope. As soon as you said architects, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was always mixed. So you had to... So anyway, getting back to the original response, especially on the video, yeah, suck it up. It's hard. Life's hard, right? Life's hard. Whether you want to admit it or not, life is hard. So there's a lot to be said for my generation that feels that we cater too much to the younger generations to ease them into everything. But at some point in your life, you're going to have to jump into the deep end.
Yes.
At some point. It might be 13. It might be 18. It might be 25. But at some point, you're going to have to jump in. Unless you're a Kardashian or some bullshit where you just get...
The Nepo babies.
Yeah, unless you get lumped into just great fortune.
Wealth.
But, Kim Kardashian's dad certainly didn't have the same... things brought to him, right? So he had to
Well, and mental illness, you can see even is still prevalent when you have all that money. Kanye West went off the deep end after his mother passed away. So it's it really just goes, money doesn't solve anything, but it is a lot nicer to complain about your depression and when you're in when you're in a multi-million-dollar house.
Yeah. And listen, I use a term all the time, first world problems, right? I'll find things to complain about, but at the end of the day, they're first world problems. I'm not waking up scoured, walking the dirt streets of my town trying to find food and
right.
So there's always people that have it worse or societies or whatever, and I'm not discrediting depression. I'm just trying to explain why my generation feels a little bit more of life's hard. You're gonna at some point you're gonna have to learn how to deal with it. And
Yeah.
the thing that drives me crazy, truthfully, is that when we take you and your brother under 18 to the doctor, they'll ask us to leave.
Only after we turn 16 do they ask you to leave.
Okay. Nevertheless, and they
It's
ask you all these
2 years.
questions about, are you depressed? Do you feel anxious? Do
Okay,
you do
well,
this?
then hold on.
Do you do that? And it's like, well, yeah, because they're 16.
Hold on, because I'm going to stop you there, because that's not how it goes. To go way back, because you just talked for a while. To go back to the response, and we both got a little off topic with talking about middle school. Depression is not just something that it's not an viral sickness. It's something that it's your genetic chemical makeup. So there are people that feel really, really sad, but never have depression, because depression is a chemical imbalance in your brain to where you have a lower amount of serotonin than the average person. That's why families will have a history of it, because it's in their genetic makeup. And it's funny is with your side of the family, dad being Irish, Scottish, Irish and Scottish people genetically have lower amounts of serotonin due to the famine. It's like the studies have shown that. So it's not surprising to me that your side of the family has it, and that I've felt the effects of it even a little bit. But sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I'm trying to explain this. So I definitely think you are right with us treating things way too kindly. But I do think there is a positive to finding the signs earlier on, so you can head start it, right? So this 13-year-old girl, the screening that they do is they ask you a series of questions that you don't even know what they're trying to figure out. Right? It's almost like a police interrogation where it's very strategic how they're asking these questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they get to the conclusion. You don't really know until you get put on a medication and if it works or it doesn't work, right? But I think it's good that they're screening to try to catch it even ahead of time. Even if you're in middle school and it's just middle school, at least by catching it early on, you can treat it early on and kind of boost morale. You know what I'm saying? It's like catching cancer. This is crazy. I know this is like depression and cancer, but it's like catching cancer when it's stage 1 and being able to just get rid of it versus catching it when it's stage 4. And stage 4 depression, you're already weighing your options of like, which is the best way to go. It's.
Listen, I get it. I totally get it. And so you're talking about the chemical imbalances that cause depression, but there's genetics, there's hormonal changes, but then there's then there's psychological reasons, social reasons, other factors, right? So
I'm just saying it, you either have the gene to get it or not.
Well, and when I'm talking about a 13-year-old, they're really talking about the social factors more than likely. Which, if we diagnose just on that, not the psychological factors, not the genetic, not the biological, then yeah, every 13-year-old in the world is going to be depressed because socially it's hard, right? But here's the thing here's the counter to what you're saying. You think it's okay, not okay, but it could be good to diagnose early. And that goes back to not our disagreement, but our two different perspectives on labeling. Everything has to have a label. I'm feeling this way, so I have to be labeled this. I don't like this, so I must be labeled this way, right? Rather than just be part of life and growing up, and you grow in and out of things constantly. So obviously the chemical imbalance and the genetic code, I get that when it comes to depression. But psychological and social, those tend to grow in and out, right?
Yeah.
And the problem that I personally have, and it's a pretty big topic right now, is that we over-medicate in this country. We medicate everybody.
Oh, yeah.
We're 4.7% of the world's population, and we use 70% of this prescription medications that are produced.
That's why
So
Europeans find it insane that we have prescription commercials.
yeah, we never did. We used to never do that. That
Yeah.
was something that was passed in the recent history to
And
be able to advertise that.
those are still insane to me too, because like it just shows this person like all of a sudden jump roping with their kids and like, oh, life is all merry and gay. And then it goes, side effects may result in death.
Right. Well,
like just casually on Cartoon Network too. Dad, there is a specific, like if you played it, I would immediately know it because it played on Cartoon Network.
Right.
And it was like an adult prescription.
Yeah. So who are we advertising to?
Right.
Advertising to kids, right? So
Media.
4.7% of the world's population in this country takes 70% of the prescription drugs that are manufactured. So
insane.
We over medicate. So when I get pissed because, and then we put prescription commercials on the Cartoon Network. And it's not the Cartoon Network that's showing The Simpsons or Family Guy. It's not during those episodes. It's during
Adult Swim, yeah.
It's true little kids, right? So we have set the table to go back to the 16-year-old questionnaire, kick your parents out. You've watched Cartoon Network. You see prescription drugs being advertised, and they ask you questions about anxiety. I was anxious at 16. You want to know why? Because I was 16. And I was driving a car, and I went to Europe to play soccer without my parents, and we had traveler checks, not a debit card. So you had to keep track of all your money that was paper. You had to have a passport. You had to pass this test. You had to pass that test. You had to get in the locker room without a towel on in front of your student peers. Yeah, I was anxious. It was a freaking crazy time. But it was psychologically and socially impacted, not genetically impacted. But if I saw these commercials on watching Tom and Jerry on Saturday morning cartoons, and I then might kick my mom or my dad out, mostly my mom, to ask me questions, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm anxious. And then a doctor's prescribing me something, and here I am, part of the 70% usage of prescription drugs, when maybe it's just, you just got to weather the storm because life is hard.
Well, and that's what I think what I think is surprising is I definitely think we do over medicate. But I feel like especially antidepressants, because those are literally just serotonin boost, right? Because if you need antidepressants, I don't either. But I know people who have.
Right.
And from what they've told me, this is literally just from what people have told me. So I don't have any scientific backing on this, guys. So don't scream at me.
Well, they're going to scream anyway.
Guys, I don't know. I'm admitting I'm not 100% sure. But what they told me is they literally will call their antidepressants their happy pills, because it gives you the serotonin that these are for people that have the chemical imbalance, not just psychological, not social, right? So people that actually have the serotonin deficiency kind of depression. It's literally just serotonin in a pill to regulate their hormonal, their chemical balances, to make them not as gloomy, really. So I do think, though, if we're going to give those things to people, we should actually be testing them for that chemical imbalance. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a medical event that if you take something like antidepressants, but you don't actually need that serotonin boost, you can literally enter psychosis and die. Like, that is a thing. So I feel like with our antidepressants, if we're not properly administering them, are they actually helping, or are they just accelerating the people who are going to eventually harm themselves? Are we just accelerating that?
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, listen, if this 13-year-old girl truly has depression, then, God be with her, and I hope she gets out of it, and I hope whatever her with her parents and her doctors decide is the best thing to do, then they should, right? My initial reaction was because what you said, with people my generation basically saying tough it out. Yeah. And I was just trying to give some backstory as to why my generation reacts that way. And it is more widely known that people are quicker to be diagnosed. They're longing to be diagnosed because they have to find some reason why they feel this way, instead of just understanding that life is a series of ups and downs, right?
Yeah,
And
I
you know,
think that
I remember being 14 years old, just heartbroken, right? Just heartbroken. No girls like me. You know, I always had my best friend, but, you know, I was the guy that kind of got drugged along because he was cool and popular, and I was just that. He was just a loyal friend to me, you know? And I remember saying to myself all the time, man, I should just kill myself. Like, it'd just be so much easier, right? And I'll admit that. I said that during my teen years, right? I feel like nowadays, if you feel that way or admit that you ever felt that way, someone's pushing you to something. Like, you got to go to the doctor, you got to take some medicine, you got to do this, you got to do, or maybe it's just, you know, maybe it's just normal to feel that way sometimes. And I think
sometimes 100%. I think if it's a prolonged feeling of that, that's when it becomes an issue.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's definitely hard. It's a really mixed bag of how I feel, because there's obviously a lot of other mental health things that should be properly diagnosed, like schizophrenia, bipolar. And the hard part as a woman, I will say, is all the tests that they have to base on diagnosing someone as a man base. So it is a lot harder for women to actually get diagnosed with stuff like that, because all the findings we have are like men, and women react differently to things than men do just in general, right? So it's definitely a mixed bag. I do think we need to work on that in the medical fields, period. The suicidal thoughts, I might have to censor that. I don't know if they'll let us say that on the internet anymore.
Because
I'll say
unalive or some stupid saying.
Yeah. So like the unaliving thoughts, that I'm not unfamiliar with either. I mean, you were there when I was in junior year and that whole thing happened. That was the lowest point of my life, to where every day I woke up and I had to put on a brave face, but deep down inside, I think I literally wanted to die every day, because it was humiliating to be that affected by something that someone did, first of all, but what they did affected me so bad, and they knew it was going to do that. So yeah, I mean, part of it is just age, but at one point, do we stop blaming it on age and actually start looking at it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, 13 years old, yeah, 16, 17 years old. But then, like, I know people now, I'm 21, where they still have thoughts like that. And so at what point is it not, well, you're just stressed out from college. Right. Everyone's stressed out from college. I'm stressed out. I don't sit here going, I'm going to hang myself. So like, at what point do we stop blaming it on age or like society or social or anything? Right. And do we actually start looking at it as like an issue that needs to be addressed, right?
Yeah. No, I started by saying I have family members that take it. I've had family members that have, I don't know what, if I'm allowed to say, killed themselves. So you could
lost their battle,
unalived themselves, which is, don't even get me started. It goes back to Gen X.
It's just because the internet will censor it, and then it'll take it down because it's harmful. So
once again, labels and Sally's.
Hey, it's not us. It's the people that run the social media platforms.
I know. I get it. It's just, it goes back to the very beginning of labels and.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember
all the time. You know,
I remember when YouTube was uncensored completely.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of things on YouTube that I did not need to see at any age.
Right. I mean, listen, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm not discrediting. I don't want anyone. And listen, we're going to put clips up. People are going to watch it. They're going to hate me. It is what it is. I don't care. I didn't do this to be universally liked by the 6 billion people on Earth, right? Like, there's, you know, Bill Burr is one of my favorite comedians before he just went to Saudi Arabia, but that's another thing. But he's very controversial because he's cut and dry, right? He's a Gen X guy. He's rubbed some dirt on it, you know, like, and that's how I am. And But it doesn't mean that I don't believe in it, and it doesn't mean that I'm not sensitive to it, and I know there's issues with it. I'm trying to present the other side of maybe 13 is just being 13, and maybe we don't always have to medicate because we always medicate. And maybe
I agree with the not always medicating 100%.
Maybe we don't always have to label everything. So I'm standing by all that, and a lot of people disagree with me. I get it, right? I understand depression is serious. I understand it's real. I understand people have it. And so my argument, though, is it chemical or is it social and environmental, right? And listen, if you're a kid and your parents got divorced when you were a teen, and that was, or at any time really, and that was hard on you, yeah, you probably went through some depression because it changed your life.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like we have to do our due diligence to understand the difference between a life event causing those feelings, and then a true diagnosis because of chemical imbalances. And that's my argument, right? 99% of the time, if your parents get divorced and you're depressed about it, it's a momentary thing. And then just like everything, you learn to find a way to live what is your new normal, right? And yes. I hate saying the new normal because it always gets tied back to COVID. But we have evolved now in 2025 post-COVID, so this is our normal now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that through life and through experience and through age and through relationships with your parents, your spiritual relationships, your relationships with your friends, your family, that will help you get through a lot of these events as you go through your life. And that's not just a teenage thing. That's even now. I'm 50 years old and I struggle with things, right? Mm-hmm. But I have great relationships with my family. I have a great relationship with my friends. I have a great relationship with my mom. And I did with my dad before he passed, that I could help me through it. And I understand not everybody has that. And then, so then there's a cause and effect. Then we need to explore how we can help you, right? Same thing if it's chemical, we can find a way to do it. But just to throw, Ritalin
medication.
Ritalin at a kid that is hyper. Dude, I was so freaking hyper as a kid. My mom tied me down to make me watch Sesame Street, which is so not PC nowadays. She literally tied me down using rope in a chair so I'd watch Sesame Street so I would just stop moving for a few minutes, right?
Well, that's another thing we can do is like parenting and how that's different, because like when I tell people like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I got spanked if I was misbehaving. Some people will look at you like I told them, you guys locked me in a closet and refused to feed me. Yeah. Like, guys, I was an terrible misbehaving child. Okay, like I know that. It was never.
You got spanked less than, like real spanking, less than 5 times. Maybe a little whack.
Real spanking.
Maybe a little whack. Yeah. Little you walk by, we flicked you.
Tapped. Yeah. But it was all, and people are like, oh my God, are you gonna spank your kids? I'm like, probably. If they misbehave, they're misbehaving. Right. It's not abuse. And by the way, in the state of South Carolina, you're allowed to spank your children. You can't file child abuse claims on just spanking, in case anybody's wondering. Yeah. So you guys were protected here anyway. I'm just
well
but
anyway.
When it goes back to depression, I definitely agree that we need to stop medicating so much. I think the first thing that needs to be looked at, regardless of age, is therapy. There's people that go to school, and if the kids have it, there's child psychologists as well. People are paying right now that I'm friends with to join that occupation. There's a million people out there in therapy that want to help people. There's a million therapists, there's a million psychologists, because they want to help people that are affected by things like depression, severe anxiety, bipolar disorder, stuff like that. So I think that needs to be the first option looked at is, okay, your 13-year-old has depression. We're not going to put her on antidepressants, but what we will do is help you find a therapist in your network, if you have insurance, in your network, so they can talk about this. Because sometimes, even when you have a good relationship with your parents, sometimes you just need that person that's not involved and that is trained in understanding how the brain works and why you might be feeling a certain way and what may help you. So I think that needs to be the first option. So let's stop medicating and let's just give those people what their job is.
Right.
And get them to talk to somebody.
Right.
Like when Ryan went through his thing, they didn't immediately put him on medication. We went as a family and we talked about it. So it's like, it's not a bad thing to say you go to therapy. It's not a bad thing to admit you need therapy.
It's definitely not now. It was back in the day. People looked at you like
see, that's another thing that's like upsetting because it's like you're just trying to help yourself. But take advantage of the opportunities, go to therapy.
Yeah. And listen, there's going to be a ton of backlash on that because they're like, insurance and not everybody has it, or resources aren't available for people in certain parts of the country or demographic or whatever. And that's just a lazy response because, in my opinion, because there are resources available. There's a lot of nonprofit places that will help with this stuff. And even
BetterHelp.com, you get the first 5 sessions free.
Yeah, even people that aren't in a very good financial situation always have one of these. Everyone has them. When I'm walking down the street, I see people, I don't know if you're allowed to say homeless people anymore, but people that don't have a permanent residence have a phone. So there's a way to it's just, people just don't want to do work. And they don't want to work for it. They just want it to be labeled and dismissed and give me something for it. They want the short answer to everything.
Which also isn't going to help your mental health.
Not at all. Anyway, no, it's a good topic. Listen, we brushed the surface on it. I mean, we could talk this for hours and hours and hours. And listen, we're going to post things and people are going to have a lot to say, I'm sure. Disagreeing with us, hating us, whatever.
Agreeing too. There's a lot of people that will agree.
And so I just remember my generation didn't diagnose anything. I mean, it was just do it. Just rub some dirt. The only thing that really became over like really quickly in my adolescence was the ADHD thing. That became a thing. And those poor kids, they're my age now, but they were given drugs and they just zombied out. And I had a couple friends that were like that. And my mom was anti really anything that was like that. So, I mean, I probably should have had it. I'm sure I have some elements of ADHD.
You 100% have elements of ADHD.
Yeah,
Dad.
I'm sure I do. But, once again, another example of, you can still figure out how to live with certain things and develop and grow and be successful in life. It doesn't have to be treated all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always, just everybody listening, we understand there's a huge spectrum way over here that you can't ignore. It needs the attention that it deserves. We get it. We're fully on board.
Yeah.
But yeah, depression is tough, man. But, going back to the original thing, I don't know all the details, but 13.
Yeah. I do think it's nice, though. One positive that I will say is it's not a conversation people shy away from anymore. Maybe the self-harming they still won't fully admit out loud because that's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
But what I am happy with our generation is that, yeah, maybe we do diagnose it a little much, but also even without diagnosis, you can talk about it. And no one's going to go, oh, you're so emo and weird. Like, what the heck? No, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. It's very much okay. And how do you want me to respond to that? How do you want me to help you? Right. So I will say a positive is that we don't shy away from those conversations anymore. You can talk to people about it. It still takes a lot of getting over your pride to have that conversation. Like when I tell people that I used to struggle with it, I still get momentarily embarrassed, sure, because it's a very vulnerable thing to admit out loud. But never once have I ever been pointed and laughed at afterwards. So it's like, that's something that I think is a positive about our generation. is that we're not afraid to have those talks. We're not afraid to talk about sex, alcohol, drugs. Like, it's all very open and honest, which
Well,
I will say I think is a little bit of, I know there's negatives to everything. And I know you're going to be like, well,
no.
sometimes talking about it too much, but I do think that's a positive of it.
Well, I think you guys were exposed to everything way quicker than generations before you, so that kind of leads to it. But I also think that, being comfortable talking about it doesn't mean that it's value added. So if you're going to have a conversation, just make sure it's value added. And if you don't have somebody in your life that can provide value added advice, life experience, direction, guidance, then find someone that does, whether that's a teacher, a counselor, a coach, a minister, whatever, a rabbi, whatever denomination you fall in, or go online and find the nonprofit services. But find someone to talk about it. Don't just talk about it because you've talked about it your whole life. That doesn't mean anything. If you need something, find the right people to talk through about it. Listen.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about our generation, to wrap up, is conversations between my generation and baby boomers was not as fluid and open as our conversations were. Right.
Right.
I couldn't go to my parents with this stuff ever, So, and it's not because they weren't willing, it wasn't what you did. So you're right. There is an advantage to your generation if they have a good relationship with their parents to be able to do that now. It wasn't ever, we never talked to our parents about stuff like that or this, so anyway, good topic, deep topic, tough topic.
And truly, if anybody is watching this and they do struggle with depression, I said it before on other posts that we've had, but we're strangers, but the DMs are open. I can talk to you, even if you just need someone to listen to your problems. Okay. BetterHelp.com. There's 5 sessions, I believe, you can get for free. It's a nonprofit. That you can talk about anything you need to, and they'll sit and talk with you. And then the National Suicide Hotline number is 988. They're there to talk to you. So, if you just need a minute, you can call that number. But if you really are struggling, please get help. There's so much help available. If you're religious, turn to God. He's got you in his hands. And I'm going to say that because I'm a Christian. And there's been times when I've gotten on my knees in tears and just begged, right? So there are so many resources out there. And if anyone's truly struggling, get the help that you need, because it may not be always okay, but it will be. And don't lose a battle to an invisible force, because you are wanted, you are welcomed, you are loved in this world. And if you haven't found those people that make you feel that yet, just hang tight, because you will. So just wanted to put that out there, because I do know plenty of people that have almost lost their battle, and I'm very grateful that they didn't. So just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, good topic, one that we could, again, go on forever with. But
yeah, we could. And maybe we'll pick it up depending on how many comments we get this week, and
yeah,
pick it up and address them. I don't know. I mean, it's not something that I just want to sweep under the rug.
Yeah, no.
But true to the form, like you said at the beginning, we're different generations. We look at things differently. We approach them differently. I'm exactly what I'm supposed to be, right? So
yeah,
it's a good topic to show the differences in how you approach it, as opposed to how my immediate reaction to approaching it. And neither one is probably 100% accurate or right.
Right.
And that's the point, right? There's multiple ways to get through stuff and to talk about this stuff. And, I don't know how many 21-year-old daughters will talk to their dad about depression and all that other stuff. So, that's the whole point of this show. So, it was a good topic. I'm glad you brought it up. There's all sorts of them. We got more.
We got so many.
There's a lot of things I don't understand that we do now. I fully exposed myself today. Why
did you?
Well, yeah. I mean,
with this conversation, I thought you meant another one.
No, like why do we do certain things? Why are there why are we putting
Yeah.
prescription commercials on Cartoon Network? And
I don't know why we're doing that actually.
like why do we do some of the things that seem so normal for you but are so not normal to me? Like so not normal.
It's
like,
only recently, like getting older, that I think about like the fact that I saw prescription stuff on Cartoon Network.
I never knew
like,
that.
3:30 in the afternoon, coming home from school, I was watching The Amazing World of Gumball, and like just randomly there was a prescription commercial.
That drives me crazy. Like we could do a whole thing on this. I can lose my mind on this podcast.
Well, what's funny too is it's like, so like Cartoon Network was Cartoon Network until 8:00, and then it went to Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Which is like Nick at Night, where they play Friends and like some of the more adult shows. Play the prescription commercials then. Why are we playing them at 10 a.m.
I don't think we
on a Saturday?
I don't think we should have them anyway. I mean, that's another thing that like, what am I going to do? I saw a commercial for Jardiance and then go to my freaking doctor and be like, hey, I saw this advertisement. It sounds like it's pretty good. And by the way,
or that you can just get Ozempic. By
the way, side effects are effects. They're not side effects. If you get diarrhea, it's 100% not a side effect. You have diarrhea.
You just have it.
It's an effect, right? Like, I don't know why we call it side effect.
I don't know why we call it side effect either.
It's the stupidest thing in the world.
Maybe because it's not like the main purpose. Like, that's not the main effect that it wants the pill to have. I don't know.
If it gives it to you, it's the number one priority in the moment. It's the number one effect.
Because diarrhea is a pain in the ass. And I didn't mean to say it like that, but yes. But anyway, good topic this week. Everyone, if you guys came from a clip and then sat through the whole episode, we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll see you, Dad, in 2 days. And everybody else, we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye, everybody.